everyone! Welcome back to Ghost Cartridge Gaming. I am your host, Jess. Today I'm going to be playing Cursed Sight. It's a visual novel. It was on Kickstarter originally, and yeah, I was going to give it a shot. And this is just going to be a one-off video. I will get back to Contrast. I'm working on that right now. So yeah, let's get started. Woohoo, sky. Growing up poor, I had always watched with envy whenever kids in my neighborhood rode past on rickshaws. Today I finally got my chance. I just wish the circumstances were a little different. Okay. The rickshaw clattered along the gravel path, giving me a headache. Of course, the driver had to make things worse with his off-tune humming. This place might be called Melody Way, but that gave him no right to offend the very essence of music. Ooh, so pretty. We're almost there, the driver said without turning to face me. Eyes on the road, as they said. I would admire his professionalism, except he kept lowering the rickshaw for a breather. The drivers in my hometown could beat this guy in a race with one arm, but that was a thing of the past now. East Taria was my new home, or prison, more like. Oh, I wonder why. Mom and Dad, thank you for selling me to the temple. We love you more than anything in the world. Except, of course, anything except for coins, it turned out. I bet they were spending that money for a holiday. That's terrible. As the rickshaw drove along, I passed stall keepers shouting discount offers for their fruits and veggies. When one of the shopkeepers had his eyes turned, a couple of kids stole some apples from his basket. Such a thing would never happen back in West Taria. Oh. Bells hung all around the halls on Melody Way, jingling under the breeze. This must be why people called East Taria the city of bells. The bells did sound soothing, at least for now. Give it a week and I would probably want to impale my eardrums with a toothpick. Oh god! Oh, that's gross. The rickshaw slowed as we approached a building ahead. Its size dwarfed that of any other rickshaw on Melody Way. This must be the East Tarian Temple. East Taria's symbol patterned the windows frames, as if to banish my Western origins. The driver put down his rickshaw. That will be 7 gold coins. I pulled out the purse Mom had given me for this ride. She left me 5 coins, and silver ones, no less. Love you too, Mom. I avoided the driver's gaze as I showed him the purse. Should have known better than to trust the West Tarians, the driver grumbled. Kid, I'm taking you to the guards. The driver was right about me being a kid, but then he should be an adult and let things pass. Instead, he grabbed my wrist and tried to yank me off the rickshaw. I wriggled my hand to try and break free, but to him, I probably felt about as strong as a dying cat. If the guards locked me up, I doubted my parents would bail me out. I heard executions were legal in East Taria. The thought made my legs go numb. Yeah, it would make anyone's legs go numb. I met the driver's grimace with one of my own. King Luck has business with me. If you want your coins, go talk to him. Ooh. The driver let go of me, and now it was his turn to dodge my gaze. If he troubled the king over such a trivial matter, the temple might take his head as compensation. That's a little excessive, I'd say. The driver snatched away my coins as well as the purse. He pushed me off the rickshaw, mumbled a few curses, and drove away. I brushed dust off my pants in an attempt to look cool, but in truth, sweat had stained my palms despite the cold weather. I turned to face the road I had just passed. Despite all of this being my parents' fault, I still yearned to see them running after me, telling me how sorry they felt. They were, of course, nowhere in sight. Oh, this is sad. I slapped my cheeks to snap out of it. Your new life started here, guy. I waded up to the temple doors, almost slipping on a rotten leaf on my way there. 2 guards stood bearing the temple's entrance. Their 6-foot stature allowed them to fit inside those heavy armor. The East Taria symbol on their shoulder plates reminded me they hailed from an unfamiliar culture. I swore the ground shook as one of the guards took a step toward me. The spear in his hand made me tremble. Those capes the guards wore fluttered in the wind, but these guys looked more like villains than heroes to me. Go beg someplace else, boy. The guard shooed me off like a fly. A chance to explain myself would have been nice. I lifted my chin at the opportunity to show him. King Locke invited me from West Taria to serve in his temple, I said. Right, a new slave then. Name? Sure, apology accepted, jerk. Guy. The other guard chimed in. Ah, yes, the king told us you were arriving. He's assigned you to help with looking after Miyon. He exchanged chuckles with his colleagues. Sucks to be you, kid. In you go. I waited to see if the guards would escort me. One of them dozed off on his feet, an ability he must have picked up during his years of service. The other guard filled his nails with spears, just as the blacksmith had intended, no doubt. I stomped past them in an attempt to look tough, but I stepped too hard and rolled my ankle. As I limped past the front gates, I feared the guards might close them and squash me into a meat pie. Oh, goodness. I strode through the garden before doing a full lap around the courtyard. With several dozen doors around, I dared not enter a single one. I ducked under some of the lit windows in case anyone inside mistaken me for a thief. With my head surveying back and forth, I soon bumped into a guard and fell on my backside. The guard, still as a castle wall, tapped his spear against my chin. You picked the wrong place to rob, but I'm feeling generous, so crawl back to your little hole before I change my mind. Oh, they're really excessively angry here. I guess if you're a thief. I had no longer had a home or hole or whatever insult this scum wanted to hurl my way. He should just pierce my throat with a spear and be done with it. Guy, new servant. The guard clicked his tongue but lowered his spear nonetheless. Follow me. Oh, goodness. Oh. At least he had the ever so wonderful heart to offer me guidance. I climbed back onto my feet and trailed him along the corridor, keeping a distance in case he decided my attitude warranted a spanking. The guard led me into a dressing room filled with suits and dresses that might be worth more than a house. A set of crumpled clothes sat on the carpet looking completely out of its place. Smeared with dirt, it could easily pass as towels used to wipe the wooden floors. The guard snatched these rags off the carpet and shoved them into my arms. Go get changed and hurry up about it. You're already late. Oh, this day is just not going well for Guy. Well, to be fair, I never expected to receive one of the expensive suits. I had that rickshaw driver to thank for my lateness. No point in explaining myself now, though. I shoved it into a change room in the corner and slid the curtain closed. After stripping off my clothes, I checked out these garments the guard had handed me. The standard East Tarian red from top to bottom with the East Taria symbol stitched behind the shirt. Suddenly, the curtain slid open, and I blushed upon seeing the girl standing outside. Aside from my mother, not once had anyone from the opposite gender seen me in the nude. The girl's clothes matched the ones I carried in my arms, so she too must be a servant. Those oversized pants she wore made her look about as feminine as a water barrel. Her pigtails could have looked cute, but those flies circling over her unwashed hair ruined the look. Oh, that's gross. The girl's gaze lowered toward my pants, or where they would have been if I had a pair on. She let out a sigh and walked out as if I had disappointed her somehow. Was I not the victim here? Sorry, it says where my they. My bad. I yanked the curtain back close. The force ripped the curtain off one of its hinges. I poked my head out to see if the guard had noticed. Good thing he had his head turned, sniffing at a skirt on one of the coat hangers. What? I quickly slipped on my shirt and pants to avoid another intimate encounter. The shirt's sleeves almost reached my fingertips, so I rolled them up and made my wrists look like spring rolls. I'd mocked the girl's oversized pants earlier. Well, karma must be real because they looked even bigger on me. I looked as if I had balloons crammed inside my pants. A pair of shoes dropped in from under the curtains. I guess the guard had forgotten about them earlier. These shoes had bells tied on the front to couple each of my steps with a jingle. I put on my shoes with a single step I took to exit the dressing room. The left one came off. Cursing under my breath, I thrust my foot back into the shoe before trying to walk again. That just sounds uncomfortable. And annoying if your shoe's constantly jingling, you know? This time I dragged my shoes along the carpet to stop them from sliding off. The heels still kept popping out, but it would have to do. Yeah. I returned to the guard, who hurled away the skirt he had been sniffing. He glared at me as if it was my fault he failed to keep his fetishes behind closed doors. That's so weird. Oh my goodness. The guard swirled around and stomped out of the dressing room. I assumed I was meant to follow him, so I did just that. The guard muttered complaints all the way to the end of the corridor. I stood before a set of doors embroidered in gold. The East Taria symbol sat in the middle, glittering under the sunlight. Whoever resided behind these doors must be mighty important, so that ruled out any chance of this being my bedroom. The guard pointed at the doors. This is Miyon's room. Get in there and introduce yourself. Ooh. Before I could ask any questions, the guard trotted off with a shudder. This Miyon character scared even a grown man, and now I must step in alone? Remind me to never send Mom or Dad any postcards. I looked down at my East Tarian garb. If I had snuck out of the temple now, I could fit into the crowd, but with no way of earning a coin. I could be forced to steal food like those children I saw earlier. I reached for the doors with my trembling hands. Just as I was about to knock, I heard muffled yells coming from the other end. Something, or someone, banged against the doors from inside, making me dart back. Was Miyon inside that room right now? I foresaw meeting an 8-foot mammoth that dined on servants' limbs as a pastime. After whispering farewell to my arms and legs, I slid the doors open. He has a very negative view of everything. 3 bodies rolled out and crashed into my shins, making me stumble. The bodies untangled just enough for me to see a middle-aged woman with 2 guards wrestling to keep her under control. Upon spotting a knife in the woman's hand, I crawled away until my back hit the wall. The woman struggled to break free from the guard's grip. Give me back my boy, you monster. I followed the woman's eyes to see who she was addressing. That must be Miyon! Ooh, lots of bells. And the East Taria symbol as well. Oh, on her hat and her dress. A girl sat on her knees in the middle of the room. She had both hands resting on her lap as if unaware of the chaos unfolding before her. The hat she wore came attached with a veil, but she should still be able to see what was going on. There we go. Jesus. This girl sat on a carpet with an East Taria symbol that almost covered the entire room. Considering the doors outside looked so fancy, this room was much smaller than I had anticipated. On the far end was a veranda with railings that reminded me of prison bars. Cabinets filled the walls on either side of the room. Their circular handles resembled eyes spying in from another dimension. That's a weird image. The guards lifted that knife-wielding woman onto her feet. Miyon is East Taria's treasure. By the king's orders, you're under arrest. The woman thrashed and screamed as the guards hauled her away. So this girl must be Miyon, obviously. Judging from her height, she must be no older than 10. Around my age, in other words. Why should I be scared of some kid? I wouldn't be. It's just a kid. I had no idea if Miyon was looking at me thanks to the veil covering her face. As I edged toward her room, smoke came out of nowhere to sting my eyes. I gazed down and spotted incense burning in front of Miyon's knees. Waving the smoke off my face, I stepped through the doors. The bells on Miyon's hat clanged as she looked up. She also had this large bell tied around her neck, like a collar on a pet. Oh, weird. Miyon tilted her head, perhaps startled by my unfamiliar face. The guard did order me to introduce myself, so I might as well. The name's Guy. Miyon slumped onto the floor. Did she finally fall unconscious from the shock earlier? Talk about a delayed reaction. I worried for Miyon's well-being, but more important, I feared for mine. If the guards thought I had harmed her in any way, well, I had a good run. Not really. Miyon opened her mouth and spoke to me for the first time. Blankets. Third cabinet to the left. Oh, what? Did my introduction suck so much that she would rather go to sleep? A little. Shaking my head, I walked up to the third cabinet on the left wall. I pulled the door open and indeed found a blanket tucked inside. Even the blanket had gold patterns running along its edges. What a spoiled brat. Oh, dude, you don't know her life. After flicking off a worm crawling on top, I pulled out the blanket and threw it over Miyon, covering her from head to toe. Cannot breathe, came a muffled voice. Yeah, I lowered the blanket down to her neck. Her breathing seemed steady, but with that veil on, I had no way of knowing if she had fallen asleep. Hey, Miyon, I whispered as a test, but received no response. Stupid, fat, ugly Miyon. Still nothing. She sure fell asleep fast, considering someone tried to stab her only moments ago. This is not going to end well. You don't mock people if you don't know they're asleep. Don't mock people, period, but especially not if you're in the room with them and you don't know if they're asleep. As I exited the room, Miyon's voice came trailing after me. Never speak to me that way again. Well, duh! Seriously. Oh, crap, so she did hear. Oh, God, you're so stupid. I stepped out and shut the doors behind me. The knife-wielding lady from earlier had disappeared from view, replaced by a trio of servants sweeping the corridor. All three of them swung their brooms in sync as if they had no consciousness of their own. After I introduced myself to the servants, they shared with me the daily joys of being a slave, testing food for poison, battling venomous spiders, you name it. Watch out, world, for my future shone as brightly as the sun on a stormy night. Ooh. Again, he's not a very optimistic guy now, is he? Born with the cursed sight. The treasure of a nation. Cursed sight, yay. Night came, and a servant escorted me into a storage room crammed with sleeping servants as well as crawling bugs. That was a cool opening sequence, by the way. I meant to say that. Stacked against the walls were boxes that piled up to the ceiling. I prayed they were empty, otherwise if these boxes collapsed, the temple guards would be having servant pancakes for breakfast. Ooh, the sky is so pretty. This place reeked of dust as well as sweat. I bet half of these servants never even bothered to shower before hitting the sack. So which bed is mine? I asked the servant who had led me here. Any of them. Ugh. Yeah, should have known. A bed sheet near me appeared to be unused, but just as I reached for it, another servant swooped in and snatched it from my hands. What, did you write your name on Did you write your name on it? I asked, gritting my teeth to refrain from punching him. With a scowl, the servant pointed at a wet patch on the bedsheet. Did this guy pee on it as a marking? Oh, okay, my bad then. Oh, goodness. These bedsheets were so thin that they might as well not be there at all. Anyway, but everybody had one, so I felt uneasy being the odd one out. I would too. It's weird. I spotted another unused bedsheet in the corner. This time I dove at it to ensure nobody would beat me to my prize. Maybe I should pee or spit on it as well, just to be safe. I crawled into the bed sheet, and before I could even close my eyes, a pair of mosquitoes buzzed around my ear. Shaking my head, I rolled to one side and covered my ear with the bed sheet. It muffled the buzzing somewhat, I suppose. After shutting my eyes, fatigue took over and I collapsed into sleep, which meant the mosquitoes scored themselves a real feast. Oh, I hate that when you're trying to sleep and you hear mosquitoes, and you can't find them, but you can hear them. You're just like, go away! I don't want to get bitten! Ugh. I get bitten a lot, though, so it drives me up a wall. ... Morning! Approaching footsteps caused the wooden floor to creak. A hand gripped my shoulder and nudged me awake. I opened my eyes and found a servant with his face far too close to mine for my liking. Hey, go sweep the king's throne room, he said. Cool, good morning to you too. But I checked the schedule last night. I'm supposed to help prepare breakfast, I said. Well, the schedule's just changed. I'll prepare breakfast in your stead. The servant dropped a broom into my hands. I bet he just wanted to steer clear of the king and decided to pick on the new guy. I would do that. If he thought I could be pushed around easily, well, he might be right, because I got up to do as ordered. Best to avoid trouble until I knew my way around. Speaking of which, where's the throne room anyway? The servant rolled his eyes and pointed toward a set of doors at the end of the hall. By the way, there's a trial going on, so no need to knock. Just do your job and keep out of sight. Ooh. I wonder if that's the woman from yesterday. I think it probably is. I bumped shoulders with the servant on my way out of the storage room. A thank you would have been nice, but I would have better luck waiting for the sky to rain gold coins. Ooh. As I stalked through the throne room, I scratched my swollen arms and neck. Those mosquitoes really showed no mercy last night. These bites in between my fingers made me want to light the storage room on fire. Oh! I've been bitten in between the fingers or toes. It is awful. It's so itchy. Oh my goodness. I arrived outside the king's chamber. The pair of doors here looked bigger than the ones Miyon had. Did that mean the king was even weirder than Miyon? If so, I might be better off turning into mosquito food back in the storage room. The door groaned as I pulled them open, destroying any hope I had of being discreet. After taking a deep breath, I walked in. There he was at the end of the room, the king of East Taria. He sat behind a curtain that stretched from wall to wall, but his silhouette alone made my legs quiver. Stone pillars formed a line of it evenly on the other side, holding the ceiling in place. Paintings of men and women with crowns hung on these pillars. They must be the kings and queens from past generations. Obviously. The knife-wielding lady from yesterday stood on a red carpet before the king. A couple of guards blocked the path behind her. One of them kicked the back of her knee, forcing her to kneel in front of the king. I called it! Totally called it. I spotted bruises on the woman's arm, and her gray locks looked more roughed up than yesterday. The guards must have abused her before this trial even began. Not super surprising, I'd say. One of the guards glanced toward me as if he had read my thoughts. My heart thudded as I carried on brooming the floor. Pay me no mind, folks. I just work here. King Locke, here's the woman who was sold to Miyon, one of the guards said. The woman bowed until her forehead touched the carpet. Miyon's cursed my boy to his death. I ask only for justice. Miyon's power is common knowledge among other nation, Locke said. Your son knowingly flipped her veil open. Ooh, that sounds bad. He said Miyon's power was common knowledge, but I, for one, knew nothing about it. Did that woman's kid die from gazing into Miyon's eyes? The mother began to sob. My boy was only 8. Of course he'd be curious. We should have that monster blindfolded or blinded altogether. Locke drummed his fingers against his armrest. Foolishness. Cover Miyon's eyes and we seal her powers as well. She's more valuable to the nation than all of you ants put together. Even the guards traded frowns upon hearing those words. The guards had been treating me like a sewage rat, and now the king just called them into my category. Welcome to the sewer, folks. Hope you like the smell. Send this woman to the guillotine, the king said, and she shall serve as an example to our nation. With brows still arched, the guards lifted the woman by her armpits. As they dragged her away, I thought she would beg for mercy, but all she did was smile. There's no need to feel alone, sweetie. Mommy's coming for you. Aw, that's sad. As soon as I left the room, I squeezed the room's handle to stop my hands from shaking. East Taria meant business when it came to their treasure. Yesterday I threw a blanket over Miyon's face and called her names. If she had reported it, I might have been killed. Yeah, don't do it again. Doc, I might have developed a case of Miyon phobia. From now on, I must keep a distance from her at all times. Maybe I should get a fishing rod to hand her things from afar. Tears welled in my eyes as the faces of my parents surfaced in my mind. I wiped the sleeve across my eyelids. No way would I miss the two people who sold me here. I did, however, worry for my baby sister. She played no part in any of this. Well, that's sad, too. I wonder what my parents would tell her when she grew up. They might say I died in an accident or simply claim I never existed. The thought made me tear up again. I clenched my fists to rinse away my sadness with anger. My mind seemed to be all over the place this morning. I blamed it on my lack of sleep. Maybe I should go hide in the change room and sneak in a quick nap. That sounds like a bad idea. I heard bells ringing in the main hall. A series of jingles strung together to produce a soothing melody. Curiosity won me over, and I headed for the hall to take a peek. Ooh! It's the girl from the beginning! Wow, she has a lot of bells on her. A woman was dancing alone on the stage. She had dozens of bells tied around her arms, and as she twirled, these bells produced music that echoed across the room. My parents had once told me about these performers. Belstresses, I believe they called them. Ooh, clever. East Taria's emblem occupied the back wall, partially obscured by a pair of red pillars. Potted plants formed a circle around the stage and exuded a fragrance that enveloped the hall. Several other servants slacked off from their duties to watch the performance, but most of them paid this belstress no attention, so I guess she must be a regular here. A group of 10 people watched this performance from the front row. The men wore suits ironed many times over, while the women donned earrings almost as big as their heads. They must be the belstress's real audience. Once the belstress finished her act, she bowed at the applauding crowd. A guard then walked in to greet the guests. He was all smiles as he escorted them off to another area of the temple. These rich folks probably gave the guard good tips on their way out. I could think of no other explanation for his friendliness. Heck, if I had 2 head coins to spare, I could make the guards play fetch, lick my shoe, and call me master guy. It is true, money will get you far. As the belstress stepped down from the stage, I heard footsteps running toward her. Even without turning to look, the ringing bells told me it was Miyon. She ran pretty fast for someone who was too lazy to take out her own blanket. Well, okay, cool. Miyon dove into the belstress's arms, almost bowling her over. Sasa! Sasa! Having heard about Miyon's curse, I would scream if she clung to that close to me. Either this Sasa lady knew about the curse, or she was feeling really lucky. Miyon, smile when you say hi. Remember, Sasa reached under Miyon's veil to pinch her cheeks and curl them into a smile. Can you come tonight? Miyon slurred. Sasa let go of her cheeks so she could speak properly. Can you come tonight, please? Sorry! Should have slurred that a little more. Sasa petted Miyon's hat. Just for a bit, okay? Miyon nodded frantically, making the bells in her hat chime in protest. After giving Sasa a hug, Miyon retreated back toward her room. As Sasa spun to leave, our eyes met for a moment. The shimmering stage lights made her hair and skin glisten. Sasa beamed at me and my cheeks flushed as I averted my gaze. Girls really annoyed me sometimes, to be honest. Well, you're 10. All girls are annoying at 10. Alright, well, time to go clean Miyon's room. Keep it cool, guy. Avoid eye contact and live to slave another day. Alright, time to pull these doors open. I'm glad he's narrating everything. Miyon opened her mouth the second I entered her room. Her earlier chat with Sasa must have put her in a talkative mood. 3 oranges, 1 smaller than the others, Miyon said. 2 apples, 4 pears, cold water, 15 incense sticks, 2 half-burned. I gave her a blank stare in return. Go on, Miyon said. Her commanding tone scared me into stumbling out of the room. Oh, that wasn't very commanding. Go on! That's commanding enough, I guess. She had no reason to throw such a random list at my face, unless it was to toy with me. I should instead return with 3 pieces of animal turds, 1 from yours sincerely, a bottle of piss, and 3 jars of roaches. That sounds like another really bad idea. A fellow servant walked by the corridor. I asked him just what kind of drugs Miyon had been taking. The fruit and stuff, those are for her rituals, the servant said. He shrugged at my confused face. You must be new here, I'm guessing. Miyon regularly performs spells that can change the future. Oh, if Miyon truly possessed such a power, that would explain why Luck trusted her so much. Whatever, some fruits, water, and a bunch of incense. Got it. The servant leaned in, as if frightened Miyon might hear him from inside her room. Miyon's real fussy about her numbers. You should ask her again and listen more closely. So, 3 oranges, 2 apples, 4 pears, and 15 sticks of incense, 2 half-burned. Alright, that's what I think it was. That meant I needed to speak with Miyon one more time, just great. When I walked back into Miyon's room and asked her to repeat the list, as expected, she lectured me about my lack of attention. After picking my self-esteem off the carpet, I headed out to collect what Miyon had asked for. I then returned to place the fruit basket, water bowl, and incense tray in front of her. There, you're welcome. Oh, I forgot the water bowl, my bad. The fruits and incense are placed the wrong way around. These are the basics. They said Miyon had the curse sight. Maybe I should show her my cursed mouth. A torrent of insults threatened to spew out. I barely managed to swallow them back in. Ooh. Oh, Mistress Miyon, please forgive this humble servant for not possessing such common knowledge. I swapped the fruits and incense around, because Miyon sure showed intention of moving them herself. Miyon leaned toward the bowl and whispered a chant. The water began to swirl inside the bowl. The fruits I had prepared also bounced or rolled inside their basket. Eventually, the entire floor started to shake, forcing me to lean against the wall for support. Maybe I should run from the room, but if this ritual could put my life at risk, Miyon would have warned me about it. Oh wait, Miyon cared for me about as much as someone might worry about a pillow. Silly me. A minute later, Miyon ceased her chants, and the fruit finally settled. The floor had also stopped shaking, but my knees continued to quake out of fear. 3 days of rain starting from tonight, Miyon said. That should help the farmers with their crops. I guess she was predicting the result of her ritual. Miyon slipped a hand under the veil to massage her temple. Her lips looked pale as her sweat-stained cheeks. I pointed at the bowl of water sitting before her. Maybe you should take a sip. It'll make you feel better. Miyon rubbed her temple hard as if my words had worsened her headache. The sacred water belongs to the goddesses. Learn some respect. Ooh. Actually, I filled that bowl from a tap in the kitchen. Fine, so Miyon had powers, but that gave her no right to mock me. Next time I should scoop up some toilet water for Miyon and her goddesses. This is not gonna end well for you, dude. Stop mocking her. Just as I considered arguing back, someone knocked on the door. That must be Sasa. Miyon leapt to her feet, spilling the bowl of water. I guess those goddesses she spoke of would have to lick that sacred water off the carpet now. It was an accident, man. Miyon yanked the doors open, and on the other side stood Sasa. A lady should act more gentle, Sasa chuckled, patting Miyon's head. Excuse me. As Miyon pulled Sasa into the room once again, Sasa and I crossed gazes. No need to worry about him. He's new here, Miyon said. Sir, just treat the new guy like one of those lanterns hanging along the veranda. Servants had no feelings or anything, right? That's not nice. Sansa grinned. Lucky you, Miyon. He has a pretty cute face. My face heated up like, well, one of those lanterns hanging along the veranda. Like I said, girls really annoyed me sometimes. Again, you're 10 or so. Miyon puffed her cheeks. He's so silly, though. Just now, he asked me to drink the sacred water. Sasa was the first person to smile at me in this temple. I wanted nothing more than to give her a good impression. Thank you, Miyon. Bless you for crushing my one and only dream. That was a quick 180 there. Sasa tapped a finger over her lip. Oh my, drinking the water is forbidden? I had no idea either. How foolish of me. Miyon waved her hand nervously. That's not foolish. I mean, it's understandable, I think. As I giggled at the sight of Miyon flustering, Sasa gave me a wink. This lady and I would get along just fine. Sasa lowered onto her knees, and Miyon climbed onto her lap before resuming her amble. I saw a roach in my room this morning. It was orange, I swear. I tried catching it so I can show you, but it flew out the window. Sasa pulled a comb from her pocket and used it to straighten Miyon's pigtails. Girls shouldn't be running around picking up bugs. That is true. Bugs are gross. Did you catch them when you were little, Miyon asked. Well, yes, I did. Oh, Miyon continued, and I heard King Lock singing in the toilet yesterday. It's really funny. Sasa nodded and gave occasional replies as Miyon continued to flap her gums. Miyon let out a few yawns while she talked. She put a hand over her mouth to hold them back, but each yawn came out louder than the last. Sasa massaged Miyon's shoulders. The king told me you had to perform a ritual today. You better get some sleep. Miyon climbed off Sasa's lap and shook her head. I must admit, her pouting face made my heart stir. Just a little, mind you. Sasa rose and put her hands on her hips. A girl needs her beauty sleep. She shot me a glance, and that's how you make the boys fall for you. Who needs boys? Miyon clung to Sasa's arm. I'm going to marry you, Sasa. Oh, that's a 180 again. Sasa rubbed her forehead against Miyon's ear. Stop being silly and go to sleep. I feel for your cute act last time, but it's not happening again. Miyon let out a whining noise that made me want to hug her. Eventually, she relented and gave a nod. I took that as a signal for me to pull out her blanket from the closet. Of course, she scrunched her lips at me for trying to help. Sasa tucked Miyon into bed and held her hand until she fell asleep, which only took about a minute. Those rituals must really take a lot out of you. With Miyon asleep, I puffed my chest out to try and look manly. Let me escort you to the temple gates. I hated my voice cracking as those words came out. Oh, guy. Oh my, what a gentleman. Sasa pinched me on the cheek. Her fingers felt so slender and warm. I wonder if she would let me sit on her lap too. Jesus! Getting a crush on all the girls, huh? As I guided Sasa through the corridors, the silence gnawed at me, and I tried to strike up a conversation. You know about Miyon's eyes? I heard they're cursed or something. Not sure if it's real or not, though. Dear voice, please stop cracking for just one sentence. It's real, Sasa said. Anyone who gazes into her eyes will die on the same wake. Her parents were the first victims. Oh, that's sad. I was hoping Sasa would laugh at me for believing such a myth, but now I regretted asking it all. Boy, I shouldn't have charmed ladies with my choice of topics. I should have talked about how those garden flowers were no match for her beauty. Sasa spun around to face me. Miyon never asked for those powers. Please treat her like you would anyone else. She cupped my hand in both of hers. Her voice sounded softer than usual, and her serious tone forced me to nod. As Sasa looped her arms around me, her aroma and warmth made my head swirl. If Miyon wanted to marry Sasa, she would have to fight me first. Seriously! He, like, is jumping back and forth from Sasa and Miyon over who he likes more. This kid, man. This kid. That's all I ask, guy, Sasa said. The first person to smile at me in West Taria, and now the first to address me by my name, too. Just 10 more years until I became an adult. Please, Sasa, lock yourself in a time capsule and wait for me. Seriously. Seriously, guy. Relax, buddy. You're 10. Calm down. Sasa let go of me, and as we resumed walking, she donned a smile that outshone the lanterns hanging overhead. If I had known it would snow, I should have worn more clothes. When Sasa said those words, I surveyed up and down at her clothing. She narrowed her eyes at me. Did your mind just go in the gutter? It's been there, kid. It's been there. What? I know! I peered at the snow to hide my red face from Sasa. Considering the cold weather here, I should have known it would snow once in a while. Whenever it snowed back home, I used to build snowmen and stick carrots on top for the nose. If I dare to steal a carrot here, the guard might cut off my finger and use that for the snowman's nose instead. Oh, well, I guess it depends on which finger. Pinky, not so bad. There are the gates, I said. Good night, Miss Sasa. Sasa slapped me across the back. Cut that stuff out, but good night, guy. Oh, that's cute. I like it. Yay! Alright, Sasa dropped by again a week later, and I just happened to be cleaning Miyon's room at the time. I secretly pumped my fist, feeling luckier than someone finding a bag of gold in the urinal. What? Just the imagery in this game is so odd. Urinal? Who thinks of that? It's weird. Miyon rested her head on Sasa's lap, smiling as Sasa waved the bells on her wrist to produce a melody. I would consider bearing the cursed sight for a day if it meant I could swap places with Miyon. For now, I pretended to wash this wall for the 15th time in the past hour. If I kept scrubbing, the wall might turn into glass. I wanted to spit out the wall just so I'd have an excuse to wipe it again and stay in Sasa's presence. Look at what I got you, by the way. Sasa pulled out a bell from the bag sitting beside her. The jewelry adorning this bell glittered under the lantern's glow. Miyon rose to her knees and accepted the bell. After giving Sasa a hug, she waved the bell and listened to it jingle. Sasa turned to me with a smug face. And that's how you win a girl's heart. Ooh, I wish we could see it. My pulse raced every time Sasa spoke to me. I rambled off a response to hide my nervousness. Right, cool bell. Oh, God, you're killing it, man. Sasa and Miyon shook their heads as if to say boys would never understand. Miyon then said to me, "You were supposed to be washing the dishes half an hour ago." Dear Miyon, thank you for exposing me and making my face redder than those apples I always collected for you. Way to try and keep Sasa to yourself. Do they sell these bells in town? Miyon asked Sasa. Yes, and all kinds of other things. You should check it out sometime, Sasa said. Yeah, like she could leave. Miyon lowered her head. King Lock would never allow it. Yeah, I kind of figured that. She's too valuable to go out in public, I'd presume. Now I knew why I had never seen Miyon leave the temple. Even I was allowed out for shopping once a week. Let's sneak out tonight, Sasa said. Oh. Miyon squeezed her dress. You'll get in trouble if we get caught. Just for half an hour, Sasa winked. If you fear the consequences, you'll never get anything done. I can look out for guards or something. As soon as those words left my mouth, I regretted them. Sure, I wanted to impress Sasa, but not if I had to sign my will in the process. Sasa knitted her brows. That's sweet, guy, but I refuse to get you in trouble. Just leave it to me. Oh, okay, cool. I knew what else to say. I knew not what else to say. Sasa's words reminded me that I was a mere slave, as if I had the right to make any calls. Hey, want to go water the plants with me? Sasa asked, making my heart thump. Oh, I could see it now. She and I would reach for a water spray at the same time, causing our fingers to touch. In time, our love would blossom just like the flowers we water. Oh, this kid. Sasa is asking me, Miyon said. Oh. With her lips curled like a slice of watermelon, Miyon grabbed Sasa's hand and dragged her out of the room. I guess Sasa was referring to those plants in the main hall. Should have known she was the one watering them. No way could it have been some guard singing to himself as he sprinkled the petals with a spray. Ugh, the image made me want to throw up. Oh, Sasa. Never before had I met a maiden with such a pure heart. Let me dream up some poems for her while I went to wash dishes. That night, a fellow servant bullied me into doing his groceries. I dashed across Melody Way, bumping into more villagers than I could count. One of them threatened to hit me, but I claimed to be the king's favorite servant, and he let me be. Hey, that's a smart thing to do. It's not a total moron. None of that mattered now. I needed to know how Sasa and Miyon's mission turned out. Neither of them had appeared on Melody Way. I took that as a bad sign and prayed I had simply failed to spot them among the crowd. I feel like they would be pretty easy to spot. Still, I, at least, should have been able to hear the ringing bells as they walked by. Right now, I can only hear the drunk guy in the corner, yabbering about his premonition of East and West Taria going to war. As I brought some pears and checked off the last item, checked off the last item on my shopping list, the grocery lady said I needed a shower. All this running did leave me drenched in sweat, but whatever. Running. I ran back to the temple, only taking short breaks when my lungs threatened to explode. Back in the temple at last, after sparing a moment to catch my breath, I dumped off my groceries and trotted straight for Miyon's room. Just as I was about to knock on the door, I heard voices coming from inside. This is why I was against it. The door muffled Miyon's words, but I could still hear her erratic breathing. What's going to happen to you? I've known King Locke for many years. It'll be okay, Sasa said. As I heard Mion's sniffles, I felt as if someone was pinching my heart with tweezers. That sounds painful. The guards must have caught Miyon and Sasa in their act then. I should have helped, even if it meant displeasing Sasa. Instead, I obsessed over how I could impress her by obeying her every word. Well played, guy. I reached for the doors, but guilt caused me to pull back. Miyon would hate to have me see her cry anyway. The memory of Locke passing on the death sentence had given me several nightmares of myself on a guillotine. Now Sasa must answer to the king. The possibility almost made me forget how to breathe. Ugh. Okay. Alright. So on that note, we are going to save it here and jump out of this. But I want to thank everyone for watching. This is Cursed Site. If you liked it, feel free to let me know in the comments or what have you. If you do like it, I may continue it. I might just play it on my own. But yeah, so yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope to hear from you soon. Bye!